happens before he becomes a free agent. If he plays 6 games or more this season, which is what would happen with the 10-game suspension, it counts, and it will be one more season until he's a free agent, which I know right now doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is because he does stand to cash. There's a lot of things there. Obviously, would a team be willing to take a risk on a guy with one strike away? Would the Browns be willing to give him an extension? All of that comes into play. You don't have to worry about that if he sits out 11 games this year. So if the NFL gives him even a 1-game suspension on their own, which they can do for the DUI, then this season wouldn't count contractually for the Browns and Josh Gordon. That's an interesting aside to what happens, but as it stands now, 10 games and they'll get him back. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about that. We'll talk Browns. We'll talk the win over the Saints and the Baltimore, the old Browns and the new Browns, coming up for a battle on the shores of Lake Erie. Let's talk to Kendall Lewis, the BSK. When we come back, the BSK says, I don't know, we'll find out. Kendall Lewis joins us next here on the Sports Fix.
Public service announcement from the Sports Fix. We here at the Sports Fix and our affiliates would like to apologize for any disturbing verbal actions, but remember, it's better having them trapped in a box than loose on the streets. Public service announcement from the Sports Fix. The Sports Fix, the sports show that cares.
Hey, Sports Fix fans, I'm Fred McLeod, TV voice for the Cavaliers. When I'm not busy taking elbows from my buddy Austin, as you're saying, come on, Cavs!
I'm Pro Football Hall of Famer Paul Warfield. There's just one place where students are students first and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports help young people become confident leaders and role models and use the skills developed today to do even bigger things in life tomorrow. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Football season is party season at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. Everyone wins at Harry Buffalo. Every Saturday is Coors Light College Football Saturday with $6 pitchers, 4 bottles for $10, and the Buckeyes in full HD. Football season is most definitely party season, and your headquarters is Harry Buffalo North Olmsted all winter long. Harry Buffalo, join the herd. Sports Fix listeners, like us on Facebook today. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Have you gotten your copy of Cleveland's Finest yet? Highlighting the best moments, players, and media members in Cleveland sports history? In-depth, personal interviews with some of the top names in Cleveland sports fill the pages of this incredible book. Cleveland's Finest by Vince McKee is this year's must-have book for every Cleveland sports fan. Available now at Amazon.com. Get your copy today. Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck, home of the low-price tire guarantee. QuickLane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix. Problems, no stinking technical problems this week, baby. I got him. I'm telling you. Went to his living room, made sure that we got the connection right here. My man Kendall Lewis, the BSK, going to join us on the hotline momentarily here, talking some Browns football. Real quick, you guys, as we come back to the Sports Fix, J-Rock back with you. We were talking about some little news and notes before the break. And look, I understand that there was some much more serious things in the past involving Jameis Winston, and I'm not referring to the crab legs, but just sometimes I have to mention offhand the ridiculousness of some of the things I see in the media. Tell me that SportsCenter and all these outlets around the country aren't tripping over themselves to make a big deal and reporting over a college student. Let me get this right. A college student, used a vulgar term to tell people, for those of you that don't know what he said, that he enjoys sexual relations with women and their body parts. I mean, okay. I mean, last I checked, a lot of vulgar things go on in college all the time. But look, man, there's things that deserve to be talked about, and then there's just stupidity in the media. Let me tell you, don't stick your head in the sand either. Let me just tell you, yesterday, my son playing JV football, and you know, I haven't yet determined yet if I'm the nosy parent who's sticking my nose in too far, or if I'm the helpful volunteer assistant coach. Not exactly sure what my role is yet. I'm still working on defining that, but I'm right there on the sidelines with them, you know, and hey, I played. Let me tell you a thing or two. But anyways, I was jaw on the ground yesterday, and the previous game, these kids I'm talking freshmen in high school. Man, you'd have thought a sailor convention came into town, because the language coming off the field I'm going, where did you kids come from? Because my parents would have dipped me in a vat of boiling oil if they ever caught me talking like this when I was 14, 15 years old, man. So, and that's starting young. So what do you think they're at by the time they're in college? Listen, I'm not getting involved in the other stuff. Look, like I said, there's a lot more serious accusations and things that went on that you can talk about seriously about Jameis Winston. But cannot believe that the media is sitting here making a debacle and a story out of some vulgar language being used by, gosh forbid, a 20-something-year-old college student. Man, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. And look, the kids today are messed up, but that's more messed up that's what we're talking about today. That and LeBron's hair plugs. I'm like, really? These are the topics on Sports Talk today? Not here, baby. The BSK, Kendall Lewis, going to join us, which means you can't call. Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixCLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com, and enjoy as we go to the phones here. Kendall Lewis, the BSK, my man. How you doing on this Thursday afternoon? You're here, which is always a good start.
I'm doing well, J-Rod. Let me tell you something, man. I heard your run-up to our chat today, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, when I was 14, wow. Oh, wow. I couldn't say funk in my house.
Yes.
I mean, we couldn't listen to Parliament, Funkadelic. My parents thought it was weird. Why are you listening to that? And there were just so many things that seemed mild by comparison today. That, you know, back then there were earth-shattering events. And so I think it's more than just kids are messed up. Kids are messed up because the parents are messed up. The parents are messed up because society as a whole has been more accepting of the things, discipline, that made us in older times make us more, shall we say, receptive to people around us. The world is more selfish, and there's an air in this world that causes the trickle down. And so you're going to have it in sports. One of my favorite sayings used to be, when I was doing sports radio here, one of my favorite sayings was, sports is merely a microcosm of society.
That's true.
Whatever is going on in society is going to be going on in football, baseball, basketball, hockey, sports across the spectrum. It doesn't matter. And so you find these things like, I don't think you're being a meddling parent if it alarms you that little kids say these things. I mean, we all did. But the difference is when there were adults present and it within earshot, even close, it wasn't a question. You filter your language. But now, no need for such filter. My wife works in the school system.
Oh,
and
you know.
She's an administrator in the school system, and she tells me stories that just is they make your hair stand on end about parents, children, what children have to go through to get to school. I mean, listen, I grew up in the 70s and the 60s. I lived a charmed existence. I can tell you that. And when I was living it, it wasn't easy, but compared to today, let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to be going to school today, period. I wouldn't want to go to college today, period. I wouldn't want to deal with any of those things with the inexperience of youth. But that's what these kids have. And so there are so few options to deal with all of these things. Sports is one of the few havens where you can literally assault someone in football and or basketball, or work that aggression out, provided you have a person that keeps you on the leash, a coach, an administrator, a teacher, a clergyman, a person who teaches the Bible or whatever you believe. I mean, that's what it comes down to today. And so I tend not to blame Jameis Winston, because Jameis Winston all along has been pampered, coddled, encouraged to be better than other people because he could throw a football in a bucket from 200 yards. I mean, this is going on in basketball and baseball and football and tennis and track, at the AAU culture. There's so many things that converge to leave it here. But suffice to say, on the subject of Jameis, he's costing himself untold millions. And think about it. A quarterback has to be the most sane, rational, reasoned person on the field. Turn where you go when it's all falling apart, okay? And so he cannot be subject to ever, if he's going to be your quarterback, if he's going to be the head of the pyramid of your football team. You can't have it. So their Winston is going to go through, starting in February, trying to gain admission into the National Football League at a high level where his draft status pays him before he plays a down. He's going to go through something that we haven't seen in a long time, because he's a quarterback. If he's a defensive end, if he was a cornerback, yeah, we take that, but not at quarterback. And I submit to you that we're going to see a process over this young man, the likes of which we haven't seen. He keeps doing this stuff, and he's going to fall out of the first round, even though his talent is at the very top of any draft he enters. Even though his talent is supersedes any quarterback that's going to be in this draft, Marcus Mariota or any of the Brett Hundley or any of those guys, he's going to be at the very bottom of the first round. I would guess if he goes on like he's going now, quarterback poor as we are in Cleveland, I wouldn't draft him, because the inducements for a professional player with time on his hands and money in his pockets are too great for him to mess it up, for you to be investing millions of dollars to control himself. So it's a slippery slope, and hopefully the young man can get himself together. But if he doesn't, and I mean what he did recently, but the thing is, he should not have his name mentioned with anything negative, period, that he brings about. Stealing crab legs, using foul language around different types of people. He should be squeaky clean if he wants to have that opportunity in the NFL. So I think you're right on. I think your comments are right on. But by the same token, I don't think parents today can be